The widespread recall of pistachio nuts has reminded us of the dangers of food poisoning. But if we think about it, stories of serious widespread food poisoning isn't as common as it used to be. We still need to be careful, though. Dr. Christopher Labos joins us. Hi, Chris. So, Chris, food poisoning is serious. I mean, 115,000 people a year die of it. Is there any one particular cause?
No, there's no any one single cause. There's many different bacteria that lead to food poisoning. It can be E. coli, it can be salmonella, it can be listeria. But the point is that the food gets contaminated with an infectious agent that then makes you sick. So it's more of a concept than a specific disease.
There was a big one in 1993. That was the Jack in the Box outbreak. 4 children died. The daycare centers in Calgary, 2023, hundreds of children got sick. Hamburger and meatloaf, so ground beef, it's different from eating rare steak, right?
You can get away with eating a rare steak because the bacteria on a steak tend to be on the surface of the meat because it doesn't penetrate deep into the tissue. When you have ground beef or anything where the meat is mixed up in some way, well, you're essentially mixing everything up, so everything on the surface gets mixed in with the inside. So if you want to kill all the bacteria of a hamburger, you basically have to cook it all the way through, whereas with a steak, you can just sear the surface. And so that's why you can have steak tartare and stuff like that. You just sear the surface, you scrape it off. The inside can still be raw or even blue, and you can eat it with relative safety.
And chicken can also be more problematic than meat.
Right. So, I mean, you would think this goes without saying, but, youth is wasted on the young, and a lot of young people don't realize this. Chicken is particularly problematic because of the density of its tissue. Any bacteria on the surface can actually make it deeper into the tissue. So you can have a steak tartare, but there is no such thing as chicken tartare. That would make you very, very sick very, very quickly.
But still, eating raw meat, Chris, though, can have its risks, right?
Yes, and I mean, there are a reason why we have recalls, and you are right, we don't have them as often as we used to, largely because we've learned from episodes like the Jack in the Box outbreak. But yeah, raw meat can be contaminated, and so to a certain degree, you eat it at your own risk.
So the health of the person eating the food, though, is also a factor, right?
Right, absolutely. So if you are young, if you're pregnant, if you're immunocompromised, if you have pre-existing medical problems, you might get more seriously sick. If you're young and healthy, you will survive the illness. You'll feel like, but you will survive the illness. But if you have something wrong with you, well, these are the people who tend to die. And unfortunately, people do die of foodborne illnesses every year.
But, Chris, there's a lot we can't control about the food we get, right, when other people prepare it. So what can we do to minimize the risks?
So if you're eating at home, the most important thing you can do is cook your food properly and then wash all your utensils. So anything that touches raw meat shouldn't be touching vegetables. Again, obvious statement, but worth repeating because a lot of people get this wrong. If you're eating out at a restaurant, you can't really control how the restaurant operates. The one thing you can do is check to see if they've ever received a citation from the health inspector. This stuff is available online. So only eat at reputable restaurants. For the same reason that you wouldn't get sushi at the gas station, don't try to get your steak tartare at a disreputable restaurant that's been fined by the health board. So that's the one thing that you can do as a consumer, check to make sure that the restaurant has a good safety record.
Okay, thank you very much for this, Chris.
Take care.